Hey guys, Paulo Synthmania. IK Multimedia very kindly sent in the brand new UNO Drum machine for review. Thank you very much, IK Multimedia. And this is the companion to the UNO Synth synthesizer that came out last year. And this is a hybrid analog and PCM drum machine, very interesting. So let's open it up and take a look and a listen. Alright, let's see what's in the box. Alright, here's the UNO Drum. Very similar to the previous UNO Synth as far as layout. Same dimension, very light, and same connections in the back. Audio out and in, MIDI out and in, USB power, also you can power it from batteries, and the usual matrix that we have seen also on the UNO Synth. Let's start by listening to the demo song, just to give an idea of this drum machine. And as you can hear, the vibe, the flavor of this drum machine is kind of retro, intentionally so. The samples are 32K and 12-bit. So it's got that vintage 1980s type of vibe. And it has both analog sounds and PCM sounds. Let's check out some of them. And the very cool thing about the UNO Drum is the real-time effects, like the stutter and the roll. So this would be an example. Let's call up a pattern here, say number 20, and let's operate on the roll button here. Let's do another pattern, 25. And you can quantize the roll with the sequencer matrix here. You can press sequencer and division, and you have all the divisions for the sequence. So this 3/4, 6/8, 16, 30 seconds. So let's set it as 16th. Also, it has a really nice stutter effect, which is MIDI based, so anything you do, it's recorded as an effect via MIDI. And there are 10 different types of stutter. So you can press effects, and according to the matrix, this knob here, you can choose the type of stutter. There are 10. Let's start with number 1. Let's call up another pattern, say 34, and let's use a stutter. So it goes from really subtle to really crazy. All right, let's look at the sounds and how to change them with drum row in the matrix here. Level, tune, snap, decay, and also if you hold the button, you have snare filter, low pass filter, kick 1, FM tune, and FM amount, and a sweep time. So let's take a look with another pattern. Okay, let's look at the onboard sounds, and then let's try to make a custom pattern here. Let's start with the kicks. If you press the sound, you can access the other types. This is the analog type. And with this row, you can change the level, tune, snap, and decay of the sound. Snap, decay. The other types of sounds, you have another type of kick. And one more. And one more. And number 5. The same thing for the kick 2. This is the analog kick 2. Watch your woofers. Different types of kick. Really powerful. I like this one. Moving on to the snare, you got the analog snare. Different types of snare. Like that one. Number 3. Or like an acoustic snare. Another acoustic snare. And another snare. Close hi-hat analog. Number 2. Number 3. Open hi-hat analog. By acting on the decay knob, you can get the typical 1980s analog drum machine vibe. And a few more types of open hats. Classic dance open hat. Claps. Analog clap. Another clap. Snaps. Then you got the tom. Really cool tom. Sounds like Mars. Pump up the volume, you know. Tom 2, analog, goes deep. 3. Very powerful sounds. Rim shot. Super cool. Cowbell. A quintessential 80s cowbell sound. And a real cowbell. Ride cymbal. Again, a very typical 1980s analog sound. A few more types of ride cymbal. Dance. And finally, crash cymbal. The range for the tuning goes from 0 to 127, 128 steps, so MIDI, and if you put it 64, around 64, 65, it's in the middle of the tuning. So this would be like middle. Nice dance crash here. All right, let's try to make a pattern from scratch using these sounds. Let's start with close hi-hat. So we start recording, and the quantization for the sequencer here. Also, you have the swing, the division, the humanization, and velocity. Humanize adds a little bit of randomness. And let's do the division at 16th. Let's start with the hi-hat. All right, now we have the hi-hat in 16th. It goes like this. Let's add this kick 2. Very powerful kick on the classic 1, 5, 9, and 13. And let's add open hat. We do have to remove it from the close hi-hat because it's choking it. So we just go here and remove it. So remove the 3, 7, 11, and 15th. And now you should have the open hi-hat coming out. Now we're getting some tom-toms. Rim shot. I'm going to change the sound of the rim shot. Something like that. Some cowbell. Yeah, something like that. We can do some ride. you also lower the level a little bit of the ride. And some cymbal crash, we can do that manually. So this would be a cool pattern that we created really quickly and intuitively. Yeah, the machine is really intuitive to use using the matrix. Also, you have effects such as compression, overdrive, stutter, amount for this button here. And if you wanted to add some swing to it, you could do something like this. Here the difference between at 50 is totally straight. And if you want to add some swing to it, usually I like 61, something like that. And it gives you that house groovy pattern. As far as compression, it's on the master output. So if you go here, the compression is 0 to 127. So this is no compression whatsoever. And I'm going to increase it. Something in the middle is good. If you set it to 127, it's too squashed. The overdrive, let's try the overdrive here. 0 overdrive and 127. See the difference? Very effective overdrive. Stutter amount, you can play with the stutter and the roll. Let's do that. Alright, let's hook it up to the UNO Synth so we can do a bass and drum session. Alright, to synchronize the two machines, I'm just using the two of the provided breakout cables from 1/8 to MIDI, and I'm just using a MIDI cable to connect them. And once you have connected the MIDI cables, the only thing you need to do, right now I'm going from the UNO Drum MIDI out to the UNO Synth MIDI in. The only thing that you need to do is to change the sync from internal to external. So you go to Alt and then you go to the sync option here. You see it's internal. So you just move that to external. And now when you start the UNO Drum, the UNO Synth also will start. Alright, I got a sequence out of one of my patches on the UNO Synth and basic beat on the UNO Drum, and this is what it sounds like all together. Now here's another sequence. Here's another pattern. I'm going to start the UNO drum first, and then I'm gonna bring in the volume of the UNO Synth slowly. Alright, here's another pattern. This is more like a hip-hop, early 80s style. Really cool, really punchy drum machine. Again, I'm gonna bring in the UNO drum first, and then there's a funk synth bass pattern on the UNO Synth. It goes something like this. And this one is a little bit of a rave pattern, very fast tempo. Let's put it, yeah, 133 actually. Why not 137? And I'm gonna add and remove some elements like the snare, and also I'm gonna bring in the sequence on the UNO Synth. Again, starting on the UNO drum. So as you can hear, really powerful drum machine. I really like the combination between the analog and the PCM. In fact, in this very last pattern, I was combining the two kicks, one on analog and one on PCM, to obtain maximum power there. Sounded really powerful and punchy. And of course, you can sync it to anything else other than the companion UNO Synth. It's got MIDI, so you can sync this drum machine with anything you want. And we really scratched the surface tonight. This is the first look of the UNO drum. I still have a lot to learn as far as programming the songs and manipulating the patterns, but I think this gives a good idea of the flavor, the vintage vibe of this machine, which reminds of the 80s and 90s. Really cool. So again, thank you very much, IK Multimedia, for sending it in. I plan to hook it up to other types of devices. Thanks for watching. See you at the next video.